Silver's the place to be. It's my favorite asset of all time. There's no doubt about it. Everyone knows it. I've been talking about it for over 10 years. We haven't seen anything with regard to the price action of silver based in any currency right now, as far as I'm concerned. Again, look, how I imagine this here is okay. We understand what's happening all over the world. We have central banks have gone wild. They're not going to stop, especially here in the United States. We've never seen anything like this in the history of this nation. We're going to see currency debasement, devaluation on an epic scale, more so than we can imagine here moving forward here. The United States is it's done. And that's a real reason, or one of the real reasons why we're seeing the price action of precious metals rise along with Bitcoin cryptos as well. The world is realizing that the United States is in a lot of trouble. And we're starting to see metals wake up. But the deal is, it's the Crimex. I call it the Crimex. The Colmex here. They don't trade in real assets. Obviously, this is it's a paper derivatives market, leveraged to the beyond your eyeballs. They don't trade in real assets. Most people have no idea. But that's really what's going on. Until that rigging stops, unfortunately, we're going to see the price of gold and silver remains somewhat shackled. What's going to bring this whole thing down apart at the COMEX or the CRIMEX, however you want to look at it here, is just when one, let's say, large contract is settled in the hard asset as opposed to whatever currency it is, or the dollar, most likely this what they're going to settle in here. Once just one does that, the whole thing will unravel. It's a crime. The NYMEX, the COMEX, these are crime syndicates of the highest order. It really is a crime in progress every day. You've got regulators turning the blind eye to all this. And until that stops, again, the only way, look, it's the regulators aren't going to be the ones that put this to stop. It's going to really have to be a moment where there is a demand for the physical asset. It's only a matter of time, in my view. And then we're going to see these institutions, the CRIMEX and the NYMEX, collapse. And I mean, this is all going to play together. How it's too easy for what I do. My job is very easy. I just look at the most likely places, cash, how it's going to move through the market. It's really not a hard thing to predict. We have decades and decades and decades of data to look at. So if we realize that cash moves through the markets and the economies of the world at a predictable pace for the most part, and in a way, if we realize these things, it's too simple to understand where this eventually will go. These are real things. They are hard assets. The world doesn't want this paper illusion anymore. It's frankly sick of it. And people are waking up to what's happening here at the CRIMEX and the NYMEX and all this other stuff again. So look, with regard to the price action of these things, this is how it's going to play out. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. With regard to the gold-Dow ratio, we're going to hit a 1-to-1. We have to determine where the bottom of the Dow is. I think it's going to bottom out somewhere around 8,000. The world stock markets are beyond la land. We have this mechanism here right now with this big, fat, ugly, beautiful, disgusting abomination of a bill. What's it going to do? Vast debt expansion, the same thing happening around the world. What's that going to do to the world markets? The stock markets of the world are going to now trade on a higher multiples expansion cycle. I've been telling people this for 1,000 years. Cash moves out of places where it should be going into and into places it has no business going. So what this mechanism does is just create epic distortions across the spectrum of asset classes. And unfortunately, you see not only the price suppression here of gold and silver continue to play out despite hitting record highs. And this is nothing. This isn't even the opening salvos as to where we're eventually going. But I believe we're going to see a Dow gold ratio of 1-to-1, meaning $8,000 gold at a minimum. It could be more than that, and an 8,000 Dow. And then we could potentially get a 10-to-1 gold silver ratio. So we're talking about $800. So if we get about 80, I mean, we could all, I think this is, it's, that's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. Then 140, then 260, then, there's no doubt. The system is unraveling. People think there is some kind of stability. I don't care where you live in the world, okay? I can tell people here, being that I am a resident slave of the United States. This is coming down. It's unraveling very, very rapidly. People need to be holding. I'm preaching to the choir, to both of you guys and everyone else who follows your work. They know this is where they need to be. I don't personally even think about the short action price movement of gold or silver at all, or even commodities overall, because we're going to see a surge in the price of commodities pretty much across the board. I happen to believe that gold and especially silver are massively, massively undervalued based on ballooning global debt and everything else that's going on. And again, the CRIMAX and the NYMEX and everything else that's going on with commodities across the board. So yeah, sure, $80 sounds reasonable to me. But the bigger picture is I'm a macro guy. That's really what I look at. And the macro picture tells me, though we haven't seen anything yet. In the bigger picture here, being a macro analyst guy, I don't think we're going to see something we've never seen before.
Right.
I really believe this. I mean, although we have seen, it's pretty rare, a Dow par gold, 15-to-1, gold ratio. Absolutely, I believe will happen. And I think in an extreme situation, it could go to 10-to-1. There's no doubt in my mind whatsoever that silver is going to outperform on the grandest of scales.
Yeah.
You also have to understand that people who are used to it is the silver is volatile. It's much more, gold very stable. Silver trading price action is it's volatile. So that scares people a lot of times. You see some pretty profound, when you got the CRIMAX here dumping paper contracts onto the market, you can see some pretty substantial drops in both gold and silver. But silver is always the one that I think rattles people. But in my perspective, and from everything I look at for as far back as you want to go, I've never ever once swayed from saying that I believe that silver is the most undervalued asset, and I think people should load up on it. Load. At least these are escape hatches from the financial Armageddon that we're in. I mean, people ask, where is it? It's everywhere. People can't survive. Middle class wipe out. Small business here in the United States can't survive. You got President Trump here, doesn't know which way he's going one day or the other. Again with this whole taco trade thing, something I said wouldn't happen, it actually did again. I can't believe it today with China, with the whole chip sector now getting goosed. You can't make this stuff up. But this for over 10 years to, of course, as we've heard from other people who also understand, to bet against the debt, become your own central bank, do what they do, not what they say. They don't want any of us, in an alternative to what they are forcing us to work for. I mean, people don't even understand the basic premise of how the system works. That is, okay, wherever you live in the world, you go out to work every day, and all you do is work for the privilege to borrow that currency into existence. And then you don't even own it. It's owned by the issuing central bank, plus interest they create out of nothing. That's why they don't pay us in gold and or silver, because these would make us sovereign. Say, we can't be sovereign. We must be slaves to the system. That's all they want out of us. Compliant slaves that they can yank the chain wherever they want to. But absolutely, look, the central banks are doing this. The richest people in the world are doing this. All the investment banks, they got the richest clients all set up. Everybody knows where this is going. And thanks to shows like yours, and I would like to say, hopefully, thanks to shows like mine as well, we're getting the word out, and people understand that they must act. They can't sit back. Look, this is beautiful. The three of us can sit here and talk, but until these people take action, they've done nothing. In fact, they're stepping backwards. We want them to step forward and realize that they must act, because no government in this world has their best